Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual class of Gyaniketan Girls School. This is the continuation of the chapter Reform, Reformers, and Women. From the early 19th century, we find debates and discussion about social customs and practices taking on a new character. One important reason for this was the development of new forms of communication, and for this, first time books, newspaper, magazine, leaflets, and pamphlets were printed. Therefore, ordinary people could read this, and many of them could also write and express their ideas in their own languages. All kinds of the issues that were social, political, economic, and religious could now be debated and discussed by men, and the discussions could reach out to a wider public and could become linked to movement for social change. These debates were often initiated by Indian reformers and reforms group. One such reformer was Rajaram Mohan Roy. He founded a reform association known as Brahmo Samaj, which later came to be known as Brahmo Sabha, which later came to be known as Brahmo Samaj in Calcutta. People such as Rajaram Mohan Roy are described as reformers because they felt that changes were necessary in society and unjust practices needed to be done away with. They thought that the best way to ensure such changes was by persuading people to give up old practices and adopt a new way of life. Raja Ram Mohan Roy was keen to spread the knowledge of Western education in the country and bring about greater freedom and equality for women. He wrote about the way women were forced to bear the burden of domestic works, confined to the home and kitchen, and not allowed to move out and become educated. So, the major aim of the Brahmo Samaj was to solve the problem of ordinary English educated family in Bengal and also of the problem that was faced by the women. It also laid emphasis on the worship of one formless God. He thought that unjust practices should be done away with and the society should be changed for better future. So he promoted women's education. He began a campaign against the practice of sati pratha also, and it was because of his effort that British banned the sati in 1829. Like Raja Ram Mohan Roy was particularly moved by the problems widows faced in their lives. He began a campaign against the practice of sati, as I said, and Raja Ram Mohan Roy was also well versed in Sanskrit, Persian, and several other Indian languages and European languages. He tried to show through his writing that practice of widow burning had no sanction in ancient text. By the early 19th century, the Britisher official had also begun to criticize Indian tradition and custom, and they were therefore more than willing to listen to Raja Ram Mohan Roy, who was reputed to be a learned man. And finally, in 1829, against the will of the people, Orthodox society, it was seen that Sati Pratha was banned, and the strategy adopted by Raja Ram Mohan Roy was used by later reformers as well. Whenever they wished to challenge a practice that seemed harmful, they tried to find a verse or sentence in the ancient sacred text that supported their point of view, and then they suggested that the practice as it existed at present was against early tradition. So, for instance, one of the most famous reformers, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, used the ancient text to suggest that widow could remarry. His suggestion was adopted by British officials and a law was passed in 1856 permitting widow remarriage. Those who were against the remarriage of widows opposed Vidyasagar and even boycotted him. By the second half of the 19th century, the movement in favor of widow remarriage spread to other parts of the country, and in the Telugu speaking area of Madras Presidency, Veer Salingam Pantalu formed an association for widow remarriage. Around the same time, young intellectuals and reformers in Bombay also pledged themselves to work for the same cause. And in the northern part of India, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, who founded the Reform Association called Arya Samaj in 1875, also supported widow remarriage. And yet, the number of widows who actually remarried remained low. Those who married were not easily accepted in society, and conservative groups continued to oppose the new law that was seen that was changing in the coming time, and the reformers were trying to do the same in different cases. So this was how women's situation was seen, and reformers were trying to change it. So for today, this is it. In next class we will see that how girls begin going to school in modern era. For today, thank you and have a nice day.